this any further, I'm gonna need some direction from council. Is it your desire to move forward with investigating this? Because it's gonna require, I believe, some lengthy legal research to find the proper mechanism. So just need guidance on that one.
So what you're saying is that you could be in any area of the town and be a ward counselor for a different area than what you live, is what you're saying?
I believe that would be the concept of the council report.
I know in my ward, I am mostly in my ward, you know, and unlike, if there's something going on at the other end of town, I'm not gonna know that. And, you know, just because you're there and you're present there and you ride around, you see different things going on. Maybe it's okay, I don't know. I don't know how it's worked out other places as far as that goes. And I know our town's not that big, but, I think when you have your own ward, you're more concentrated on that part that you live in.
This part of the world is fairly diverse too. Like where I live is considerably different than, let's say, like the Rosedale section of the 7th Ward or something like that. So in a lot of ways, since it's separated geographically, you know, a counselor of that particular area might better represent where he or she lives, and rather maybe all of them might be from a particular area.
Well, here's my thought on it. It doesn't matter what ward you live in this borough, everybody has the same problems. The taxes are too high. My neighbors are getting on my nerves. There's trash in the street. It does not matter if you're in the 1st ward or the 4th ward, all the problems are the same. And here's my thought. To me, we shouldn't even be making the decision. This should be a decision the voters should be making. We put all these referendums out there for them to vote. I mean, to me, the citizens should be making this decision instead of us, to be honest.
I absolutely agree, you know, on both points. First of all, I'm running from one end of the town to the other every day. I get calls from all the wards, and I service all the wards. But I absolutely positively agree this is a decision the voters need to make. Now, I'm not sure that that is something that can be put on a referendum and something you would have to research, but it certainly has to be done by the voters. They're the people that we're representing.
I believe too that if, say for example, in Rita's case, she probably has the same type of dynamic where there are Hispanic voters that are gonna exclusively reach out to her. Sometimes it will be a language situation, or just because of the familiarity with certain types of issues. So, you know, there's a lot of dynamics that create the potential for everybody to be dealing with everybody for one reason or another. And one thing that the current system does, it provides some type of equilibration across all the wards that would be, you know, like equitable distribution of representation, but not an exclusivity as if somebody in the 3rd ward calls Rita because they have a language concern. They're not told you can't call Rita because, you know, you live in the 3rd ward. So we don't have people with those type of restrictive thought patterns that are, you know, visibly screaming about what's happening right now.
I believe in the current system, the way it is now. I believe that a counselor should live in the ward that she represents, or she represents. I'm not opposed to adding 2 at-large counselors. That was an option.
Maybe adding 2 additional counselors to the 7, or
Yes.
or enlarging the ward and then
I would be
adding
opposed to adding 2 at-large counselors. That was an option.
with
So
9.
that's mine, right. That's my take.
Well, I think, and my whole point was, we just need to get rid of wards in general. I'm not saying that I would be representing people in the 2nd ward. I'm saying that the ward system is pointless, and it's, I mean, what do we use it for? To find out where we go to vote. That's what that ward system is used for right now. Because nothing is stopping somebody from the 1st ward from calling me and saying, and of course I'm not gonna say, call Ryan, I'm not dealing with it. I mean, you're gonna handle whoever calls you with their complaint or their kudos, because believe it or not, we sometimes get somebody saying good job on that. Rare, but it happens. So my whole point is, the ward system is so outdated. Ginny told me, back in her day, there were 20 borough councilors. No, but didn't you say it was 20 councilors at one point? So, right, so there were 10 wards, and I mean, I just don't think that the current ward system is effective. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, it's an uphill battle, change is hard.
Sure,
So-
I see, we get enough feedback from our constituents, sure.
I think we can keep it the same, but that we can communicate more and work with each other, whatever we need, like you say, in case if somebody was sick, they need language problem, they can call me and we can help. But, you know, be more open to go in different work, but keep it the same. That way, they keep it more kinda control.
For the constituents, you mean?
Mhm.
Because if I get a call that I'm not having, like, I would refer somebody to you, Rita, if I got a call that I was having difficulty understanding. But the constituents are pretty open to, you know, like I said, I get calls from all over, so they know who to go to for help or whatever they feel comfortable with now. But I do think, Norristown, somebody asked about other municipalities, Norristown has 7 councilors, they have 5 wards, and then they have 2 at-large councilors. So and I think of all the townships, I think all the commissioners are at large. I'm not 100% sure. I think all commissioners are at large.
Because they're in townships.
Mhm.
But also, you know, there's geopolitical implications about the districting of wards that has to go into that bailiwick as well because of the redistribution of boundaries for, things besides the borough. I think it's more than.
Like state representative.
What I see is a downside risk to going to 7 councilors at large is at some given point, it could be that all 7 are coming from one ward. So if we had 7 councilors,
Yeah, it's possible.
could have 7 councilors from the Rosedale side. And people on the west end, south end might start saying, hey, we have no representation because everybody lives over there. Subsequent elections could have all 7 coming from Ward 2 or Ward 3. And you know, having 1,500 or 2,000 in your ward is manageable. And yes, we all receive calls from other wards, and that's fine because we're all representing the entire town. And I know for myself, if I get a complaint from a ward outside my own, I certainly let that counselor know, as we all should.
Yeah. So what I do is if there's an issue, I'll carbon copy the council of that ward. Where I sometimes run into problems is I'm not really sure myself, except for my ward, where some of the lines are, so I'm not sure who to copy. So it would have to definitely be an open communication system between everybody if it was a ward system, so that we're not doubling up on the same resolution.
But, I mean, here's the thing, so if you're saying we had 7 councilors from Rosedale, I find it hard to believe that they wouldn't be looking out for it, because here's the thing, when somebody calls me with the same issue, whether they're in Ward 4 or not, I try my best to resolve the issue, and if those 7 people are all from Rosedale, and somebody in the 4th Ward has an issue, and they keep calling and calling and calling, they're gonna find a resolution or an answer. So to me, it doesn't matter where you live in town. I mean, we're all facing the same problem. The taxes are too high. We complain about crime and drugs and this and that. Doesn't matter where you live, whether it's Rosedale or on Willow Street. So, again, I'm not hearing a good argument for keeping wards, other than, it's the people in my neighborhood and I represent. I mean, we represent everybody in the town, no matter what. I mean, is it gonna make it harder to campaign and run for office? Of course it is, because now you gotta hit every little place instead of your one polling location. So what I'm hearing, the general consensus is we're not gonna move forward with investigating.
I disagree. I think the general consensus is we are gonna move forward with investigating it and let the voters decide.
Mr. Cross, should we investigate further or not?
There's no harm in doing that, and just how much, if we did decide to go forward, I have to learn the details of how much work it will be to get to where we want to go, but, since there's really no downside, just looking, sure, that's fine.
As well?
I think it's good that you have people from different areas, and I don't see any problem with crisscrossing. Like, you know, if somebody from Joe's ward calls me, or you know, or vice versa, or whatever, you know, I don't think there's a problem there. But I don't think it hurts to have people from different areas of town. I think that's good, because you're going to be more committed to your area. You know, instead of like not, you wouldn't have 7 people from Rosedale, but if you have a concentration of people, you know, from say the East End, there are not as much to go. They're not going to be driving around the West End, you know, to see if there's issues and stuff like that as much, you know, on a regular basis.
I agree, let's go forward and investigate it.
Mr. Orange,
Yes.
Keep it the same.
keep it the same?
Yeah, I'm still basically behind exactly what I said before. I mean, if we're gonna investigate adding 2 more at large, I don't have a problem with that. I'm not in support of investigating further as to changing the whole system.
Okay. Well, I would agree, let's take a look and investigate, see what it take.
All right.
Give us a going there.
Thank you very much. Next item I have is, I put at your place is a piece of paper that has a bunch of bike riders on the front of it, says Bike Montco. And by the way, the documents that were mentioned by Eileen and some of the other documents that we're going to talk about tonight, Arlene, copies for the public on the table, if you'd like to see them. The Bike Montco is an effort to improve bicycle mobility in Montgomery County and your places. You'll notice the document explains the effort and also has some links and a QR code to access some of those links. I'd encourage all of you to go to the website locations. There's some survey information they're trying to amass, the Planning Commission, as this project moves forward, and they're asking for help in doing so. I want to let council know that thanks to the efforts of our grants administrator, Courtney Hyde, the Borough recently has been awarded the 3rd place by the Boroughs Association in their 2017 Borough News Communications Contest. This is for our Citizens Leadership Academy. The award presentation itself will occur at the association's award dinner, or luncheon, excuse me, on May the 8th. I believe you received an email. The Pennsylvania Auditor General has conducted an audit of both the police and civilian pension funds. Yes. Happy to report that both are clean reports, no findings. The last item I have is next Friday. As a reminder, Good Friday. Borough Hall will be closed. That's the extent of my report.
Thank you.
And those reports, the auditor's reports are available on the Borough website.
Yes, that's
for
correct.
public inspection.
And before we move on to the next, I believe Chuck wanted to have some input on the research of the ward system.
Yeah, just a comment, I'm listening to all the counselors provide their feedback, and I guess from what I've heard, there's really 3 issues you'd like some guidance on. First is the process to abolish the ward system. Second is what, if any, impact a vote or referendum can have on any process you decide to undertake, and whether that is binding or simply advisory. And third, based upon what Joe has indicated, the process for expanding the council to provide potentially for 2 at-large counselors, which would then bring the council to 9. So those would be the 3 items. We would come back to you with information so you can consider further, unless there's something else you'd like to see as part of that research.
Just one question, would it make sense to maybe also research broadening the wards and then still having 7 counselors, but doing it similar to what Norristown does and have 2 at large and then 5 ward counselors? So you would just be extending the border limits in that research?
Correct. I mean, again, I'm not sure exactly how Norristown works, but what I heard Joe said was basically keep 7 and then add 2, so you'd have a total of 9 counselors. So the process for adjusting would be similar regardless, but at least you'd have options of how you could handle it. We still wouldn't have 20 counselors.